So this type of video is very different than any other type of content that I've done on my channel. I've recently got into modding Sonic Adventure 2, and there's a mod that allows you to play as any character in any stage that you choose, and that made me want to try something. I've watched a lot of these Is It Possible videos by creators like Nathaniel Bandy and Charai5, and I really like them, so I thought it would be fun to try and do one of these challenge videos myself, and I decided to try and see how many stages for the Hero and Dark stories in Adventure 2 I can beat as Knuckles. Now, I'm mainly just doing this video for fun. I don't claim this idea for a video as my own, obviously. I'm sure there's already a video about this specific thing out there. Again, I'm just doing it for fun. Another thing I want to point out is I'm mainly sticking to stages, so no bosses or kart races, etc. I'll also be tackling everyone's stages except for Knuckles, because we are playing as Knuckles, so obviously he's going to be able to do his own stages. But with that being said, let's get started. So City Escape is our first level, and it's mostly doable as most of it is the same as if I was playing as Sonic, but a lot slower. I did discover that Knuckles couldn't grind on rails though, so that's going to be interesting for future stages. And also these pole things that you normally flip on as Sonic or Shadow will cause the game to crash if I touch them as Knuckles. It's when we get to this section right here before the truck starts chasing us where I can't progress anymore, as you're normally supposed to use the somersault to get under the wall, but Knuckles can't do the somersault. I tried to see if I could climb over the wall, and that didn't work either because of an invisible wall in my way. So about 90% of City Escape is possible. Next was Prison Lane, and unfortunately we're stuck right at the very beginning as you're supposed to lock onto these robots as tails and shoot them to open the door, but Knuckles can't reach the third robot behind the door, so there's no way for him to progress, sadly. Metal Harbor starts pretty strong at the beginning. At first I thought there was a couple of gaps I couldn't clear, but then I remembered I'm playing as Knuckles and I could climb on the walls to progress. It's when I first got to this tower where I needed to do a somersault to get to the pulley to pull me up, where I ran into my first obstacle. I tried getting higher footing and then glided to skip the first tower, and then I realized I can just climb up the towers when I got to the second one. Next, I had trouble getting to this platform with the rocket, so I tried jumping and gliding from this ramp and I was able to get there easily. After that, sadly, that's as far as we can progress, really. You're supposed to latch onto this rocket as Sonic to get to the end of the level, but doing that as Knuckles causes the game to crash, so Metal Harbor is not possible. Up next was Green Forest, and boy was this one interesting. My main obstacle in this stage was the vines, as trying to swing on them as Knuckles could cause the game to crash. Luckily, after that first vine, there's another path I can take that I can just simply glide to, but then we run into another vine, so this time I decided to climb up the trees and see where I can go. And I was able to get up high enough to get myself on the main path again, but ran into yet another vine. So I find another tree I can climb up, and this one was a bit weird. It's like there was some invisible walls that I had to navigate through while climbing up. It was very, very strange. Thankfully though, I'm able to get myself up high enough to glide back onto the main path and continue forward. But then, as you can probably guess, I ran into another section with a vine that I can't swing on. So I did my usual tree climbing routine, and again, there was some invisible walls that prevented me from climbing up any further, and I couldn't get up high enough to get back onto the main path. So I then decided to try and get higher ground by going backwards up to where the checkpoint was, and then glide my way there. And it worked! I then continued traversing the stage like normal until I ran into another vine section. I needed to be a bit careful with this one as the springs could easily launch me into the vine. I go ahead and start gliding my way again, and I'm easily able to get back onto the main path again, just with the camera taking its time to catch up with me. I then come across the very end of the level where there is one final vine section that I have to get through, but unfortunately, Knuckles can't climb on the terrain that starts sinking into the water. And I also can't try climbing the tree next to it because it has no collision, I guess. I then glide to this other tree, and it also has no collision. Great. On another attempt, I noticed that the ground that was sinking was getting low enough to where I could get to it, so I turned around and, what do you know, I made it. And now I can confirm that Green Forest as Knuckles is possible, but damn did that take a bit. I honestly don't have anything to say about Mission Street. The stage was a breeze to do as Knuckles, and Probably one of the only stages that gave me, like, no trouble, period. Hidden Base was another level I couldn't make much progress on, and that's due to these walls that can only be destroyed by tails. I am able to get past this first one by jumping onto a pot and onto the top of the wall to move forward, but once again, I'm unable to move forward once again by another wall I can't break. However, I am able to just go through the collision here to get into this tunnel, but after that, I'm met with another wall I can't break, so sadly, this one is impossible. Okay, yeah, like Mission Street, Eternal Engine was pretty easy to get through as Knuckles, so I don't have anything to say here. Crazy Gadget seemed like it was having a decent start, as I could still make my way through the level even without being able to pull these switches to reverse the gravity. Not sure why Knuckles can't pull those, by the way. It seems a bit silly. But then our journey is cut short by this tube thing that normally we can break as Sonic with a homing attack, but for some reason, Knuckles can't break this with his punches or anything, and that seemed so dumb to me. It feels like something he should be able to break, but nope. All I can do is move on, I guess. Finishing off the hero stages is Final Rush, and it was surprisingly really easy to get through. I can't grind as Knuckles obviously, but I could instead just glide over everything. Even this part where the grind rails are going upward, I could just climb up and keep going forward. Honestly, the only thing that would make this stage impossible is if Knuckles had a limit for how long he could glide for. But that's going to wrap it up for the hero stages. Let's move on with the dark stages. Starting off, we have Iron Gate, and immediately we're stopped by this first store, and I tried a couple times to see if I could run past it, but I just couldn't, and I think there's an invisible wall anyway, so not a great start so far with the dark stages. So, Dry Lagoon I expected to be a walk in the park since it's just a treasure hunting stage. But actually I was wrong, because what I think happens is at least one of the emerald shards always spawns in the second area for this level, and you need to take the turtle to get to it. But when I tried, the game crashed, and I also tried dying to make the emerald shard spawn in the area I was in, but it just never did. The radar never detected it. So Dry Lagoon is not possible, I guess, but I'm honestly convinced I had to have done something wrong here, so someone in the comment section let me know if there was something else I could have done. I'd really appreciate it. Sand Ocean was a pretty easy level to get through. Normally as Eggman, you're supposed to blow up these bombs to knock over the pillars so that you can walk across them, but as Knuckles, I could just climb up the pillars and glide everywhere. There was this weird part with this dash panel that sent me flying across the stage. I don't know what that was about, but I thought it was worth bringing up since nothing else really happened in this stage. So, Radical Highway had this weird start where I spawned here on top of the bridge. Again, I don't know what that was about, but it turns out that happens for other characters as well. I guess since only speed characters can grind on rails, they're the only ones that can spawn there. The first obstacle I had was this ramp. If I used the dash panels, I would just fall to my death, but if I just jumped, I could glide over there just fine. My next obstacle was this part where I need to do a somersault as Shadow to get under here to continue forward. But as we previously established, Knuckles can't do that. So I got the idea to go back and see if I could glide around, and luckily I was. After that, I could continue, and then I proceed to accidentally touch these pole things again, twice by the way, and crash the game. That was smart of me. But then I ran into a problem where I couldn't jump high enough from here to continue forward. I then decided to try gliding from that same checkpoint again earlier, but a bit farther, and at first I am able to make more progress this way, but then I run to this part where Knuckles gets stuck in place, and then it's either that or I try jumping off and not being able to get back onto the road. So I decide to once again jump and glide from that same checkpoint, but even further. And after a couple attempts, I was actually able to reach the goal ring. So yeah, Radical Highway is possible, just the later parts like to be a hassle. Lost Colony? More like Lost Cause, because it's another level that I immediately can't get through because of the bombs on the doors that I have to blow up as Eggman. Although I was able to clip through here and get past the first door, but not even 10 seconds later though, and I'm already met with another door with bombs on it. I tried seeing if I could clip through here as well somehow, but nothing was budging. I'm gonna go ahead and just say Weapons Bed is possible, and that's because I just want to rant for a sec. I find it odd how the levels that are mostly either giving me the easiest time or immediately blocking me off right at the beginning are Eggman and Tails' stages. It's weird, ain't it? Some of them are a breeze, but others I immediately can't make progress right at the beginning on. I don't know, I just found it weird and a bit funny if I'm being honest. Security Hall. Yeah, that sure was a challenge of a level, oh yeah. Real tough for this challenge, oh my god. So, like Green Forest, White Jungle also has the vines that cause the game to crash, and it's not too long before I run into the first one on the level. I climb up a tree and look around but can't find anything, so I try gliding from the beginning of the level to have higher ground simply. And at first, I keep trying to go to these 3 small islands at first, but it is not easy trying to when the camera decides to not follow you. Eventually I do get to them, but then nothing else spawns around me, so I glide around some more and find nothing but a random dash panel. I try again, and on the corner of the screen I find more land and am able to finally progress. Then I discover these pulley things that normally Shadow can use to traverse up, but as Knuckles touching them makes the game crash. Cause what else is new? Luckily, I can just climb up the tree and get back to the main path easily. From there, I can just climb and glide across the rest of the level. I do come across this part where I need to do a somersault to go into the fence, but I could easily just glide around it. I get to here where the next checkpoint is, and already I know the path below takes me to another vine, so I simply just glide over to the next area. At first I take this loop-de-loop path, but it ends up taking me to another vine, and I couldn't find anywhere to go from there. So I glide again from that same checkpoint and go further into the level. Eventually I notice where the next area is and glide on over. From there, I'm able to glide past the rest of the level and reach the goal ring. This was almost just as much of a hassle as Green Forest was, but damn am I proud of myself for being able to figure it out. Next up was Skyrail, and immediately when starting my first attempt, I'm already falling to my death, and then I realized, oh, this level is all about rail grinding and Knuckles can't rail grind. But honestly, there wasn't anything to worry about. I was able to simply just glide throughout the whole stage, and I could reach the goal ring just fine. I'm kind of realizing now how much of a godset Knuckles' glide is in this game for some levels. You can really just fly over everything if it's open enough. Yes, it's possible. Moving on. Actually, no, because you know what? I want to know, why is it called Mad Space? How can space be mad? How can space even have the emotional capacity to be mad in the first place? Next, here we are with Cosmic Wall, and it's another stage where I can't progress from the beginning. I can make it up to this first platform, no problem, but after that, nothing. Damn. And to end off not just the dark stages, but all the stages in general, we have Final Chase, and it's another stage I can just glide over, really. I was even able to use the anti-gravity tubes just fine. I honestly thought there was a chance they would have crashed the game, but nope, I can traverse them just fine with no issues. Yeah, this stage gave me no issues, really. Okay, so I made a mistake, and I realized I skipped 2 whole levels, god damn it. The first one being Pyramid Cave, and most of it, honestly, was pretty easy to get through. There was only a few obstacles that got in my way, and even then, they were pretty easy to figure out. The first one was here, where I had to get the thing to the other thing, but even with the dash panels, I couldn't get up high enough. So what I do is when I get up high enough, I can throw the thing up there so I can then just use the wall to climb up, and then I can progress from there. Next was this door I had to open with a switch, and Knuckles wasn't fast enough to make it to the door in time, so what I did was just climb around again, and I was surprisingly able to climb over the door and just proceed through the level and reach the goal ring. The next one I skipped by accident was the final stage, Cannon's Core, and there's not really much to write home about. We're immediately stopped by this door with bombs on it that we have to explode as either Tails or Eggman. So, yeah, I wasn't able to end on a high note, unfortunately. And with that being said, that was all the levels as Knuckles. Not counting Knuckles' stages, 14 out of 24 stages were possible, which is more than 50%, and honestly, that's not bad at all for my first time doing one of these challenge videos. I'm sure it's possible that more stages could be done as Knuckles, but I'm not an expert in this game, so I don't know the ins and outs of every level, so tell me, dear viewer, if you know any other methods I could have used to beat more levels as Knuckles, please let me know in the comments section down below. I hope y'all were able to enjoy this video. I have no idea how this is going to come out as I'm writing the script, but regardless, I hope you're able to enjoy this, and with that, I will see y'all next time.